Florida, one of our most populous states. The weather's pretty good. The NASCAR fans are all fired up. You may not know, but a lot of people just wish Florida wasn't part of our country. There's a lot about Florida that you probably don't know. So put on your sunscreen as we check out some amazing facts about Florida. Alligators that will bite your face. A big old track where you can watch the race. A bunch of old people with nothing to do but drive around all damn day, all damn day. Florida, Florida. What's that noise? They're in the bushes. Is that an armadillo? A panther? A large snake? Perhaps it's the skunk ape. What's the skunk ape, you say? It's Florida's Bigfoot. Yes, the Sunshine State has its very own swamp thing. Skunk Ape is 7 feet tall and smells really bad. He lives in the Everglades. A lot of people say they've seen him, but nobody's ever taken a good picture or found any bones. Florida has a bunch of other wild things. There are 500,000 wild pigs in the state of Florida, and they're driving everybody hog wild, or going hog wild, or whatever. These pigs are ruining crops, attacking people, and messing with other species. People will actually pay you to shoot them, but they'll never get rid of them here. The problem all started back 500 years ago when early explorers brought them over. Here in Florida, you also can't keep a pregnant pig in a cage or bring them to the beach. There's also Burmese pythons all over the place here. People brought these over from Asia, and then people who had them as pets started letting them go because they couldn't take care of them. Now they're everyone else's problems too. Florida also has a problem with weird invasive toads, a mean sucker called a lionfish, invasive iguanas that fall asleep when it's too cold, and these giant African land snails that apparently lick the paint right off of cars. Poor Florida. Now, Florida is the only place on Earth where alligators and crocodiles coexist in the same habitat. There's actually a whole Wikipedia page that goes into gruesome detail about each alligator attack. Dragged into the water while walking near a golf course, dragged and drowned while walking a dog, a kid got dragged into a lake at Disney World, some guy who was robbing homes got it. He got what he deserved, I suppose. A lot of these people were swimming in ponds or canals where "do not swim, there's an alligator in here" were posted. But can you imagine? What a horrible way to die. The lesson is stay out of the water in Florida. Anything more than knee deep, mister. I don't know if people are brave or stupid for swimming in anything in this state. And speaking of water, no matter where you are in Florida, you are never more than 60 miles from the ocean. That's because of Florida's shape, a peninsula. And before we leave this topic entirely, we must mention that Gatorade was named after the University of Florida's football team, the Gators. The original concoction was made of water, electrolytes, and lemon juice, and was developed to try to help the team's football players withstand Florida's heat. Once a year, thousands of Floridians stand at the state line and toss dead fish into Alabama. It's called the annual Mullet Toss. Apparently, really hot chicks come, and dudes dressed up as rock stars do it. And more really hot chicks. Okay, so this is mostly hot chicks that do this? Well, if you want to throw fish at Alabama, this happens every April 18th. So get your tickets now, mister. We're on a roll. Mappy, do you have any good ones?
Did you know fireworks are totally illegal in Florida?
No way. Florida people are always blowing their fingers off. Oh, I guess you're right. I guess you can buy sparklers in Florida unless you're a farmer, and then you have to promise to use the fireworks to scare away birds. Then you can buy them. Or you can just sneak them in from Alabama. Alabamans always have the best fireworks. So you should probably stop throwing fish at them. If I was an Alabaman, I'd probably throw fireworks back over the state line. Throw a dead fish at me.
Did you know Key West has the most bars per capita than any other place?
Okay, Mappy, this is my video.
But you said I could...
Okay, Mappy. Thanks, Mappy. Mappy needs to stay in his lane. Rankings-wise, Florida has a lot to boast about. Florida has the 4th worst drivers in the nation, based on DUIs, car wrecks, and number of suspended licenses. Florida also has the nation's highest number of drivers without insurance at 27%. And if you've ever driven there, it's clear that 85% of Florida drivers are oblivious to what a blinker is. Florida is the 2nd oldest state in America, right behind Maine, but we already knew that. Older people like to retire in Florida, mostly to enjoy the warm weather and no income taxes. Florida is also first in the nation for fraud cases. That means people in Florida have fallen for identity theft, phishing, and internet scams more than anywhere else. However, it's not the old people, apparently, who are falling for scams here. More often, it's younger Floridians. Interesting. And you may not know it, but Florida ranks third in the U.S. for higher education. So there's some smart Florida guys down here, I guess. What does a Florida person choose most often when on Netflix? Daredevil. What is that? A show about a secret superhero who fights crime in New York? Didn't we already do that with Batman, right? Florida certainly isn't the fattest state in America, but it is the flattest state. It has the smallest difference between its highest and lowest points at only 345 feet. Other flattest states are Illinois, North Dakota, Louisiana, Minnesota, Delaware, and Kansas. On a related note, Florida is home to over 1,300 golf courses, more than any other state. Mar-a-Lago, a resort owned by our president, does not have a golf course on its premises, but it does have a putting green. And while we're on the topic, Mar-a-Lago isn't actually a resort and hotel. You have to pay $200K to join the club and fork up $14,000 in annual dues. I don't think $14,000's much of a burden for people who are members here, though. But apparently, many of the golf courses in Florida are losing revenue, and some are even closing. That's because, well, people aren't playing golf as much anymore. But what is growing here are farms and farmland. Hemp fields are growing super fast. Florida has 47,000 farms and 9.5 million acres of farmland. Florida ranks number 1 for tomatoes, number 1 for watermelons, grapefruit, sugarcane, snap beans, cucumbers, and oranges. Only Brazil makes more juice than Florida. Winter's always interesting in Florida. Clearwater, Florida has the highest rate of lightning strikes per capita in the U.S. About 40 people get struck by lightning in Florida every year, and about 10 of them die. Florida also has the most tornadoes of any other state, though many of them aren't very strong. And of course, the state has the most hurricanes too. And due to the strong winds here, public doorways have to open outward. Of course, we can't talk about Florida without some Disney World facts. The Walt Disney World Resort is 30,000 acres big and is basically the same size as San Francisco. Every day, more than 200,000 people visit the city of Orlando, which is basically the same size as Salt Lake City. 62,000 people work at Disney World, making it the biggest single-site employer in the U.S. Okay, so I don't know how people do the Disneyland thing. Like, I grew up near Disneyland, and I probably went 7 or 8 times. And when people would want to come visit, they would be like, let's go to Disneyland. And I'd be like, you can go to Disneyland. I will drop you off at the gate without paying. You can walk up to the front or take the tram, and you go have fun, and you call me when you're done. Because Disneyland is nothing but lines, and it is not that fun. More facts. There's almost 500 restaurants in Walt Disney World, and they sell 3 trillion ice cream sandwiches every year. Getting hungry, Mappy? This place also goes through 300 million pounds of ice. I probably eat a couple dozen ice cubes a day myself, since I drink so much water and all. Maybe more, since I always kind of drop a few on the floor, and then I kick them under the oven.
Hey!
Laws in Florida are weird, and there are way too many to go into. Like, that's a whole nother video. But I just read that it's illegal to sell your kids in Florida. That's a law. Like, they had to make a law about that, like, to tell people not to do that. Florida has flamingos, but it's not clear if they're native here. Back in the 1800s, people hunted the flamingos almost to extinction, using their feathers for hats and actually eating them. I don't know what flamingo tastes like. So anyways, almost all the flamingos were gone, and then the really rich people here started bringing them back into the state again, and now there's flamingos all over the place again, and nobody knows if they're the original flamingos or the new flamingos. So scientists can't figure out if flamingos are supposed to be here or not. Oh, and flamingos are pink because they eat shrimp. I guess the shrimp turns them pink. And finally, our last fact. It's estimated that there are over $2 trillion worth of lost treasure within an hour off of Florida's coast. That's because of all the crashed ships. So if you have some motivation and you can learn how to operate heavy equipment and aren't scared of sharks or running out of air, you could try to find some of this treasure for yourself. Or alternatively, you could just watch another Nick Johnson video on YouTube, since each video is something to treasure forever and ever. The end. Lots of people and there's lots to do. There's a theme park that is really cool. Hurricanes will kill you, all the meth will kill you, but you'll be really tan, really tan. Alligators that will bite your face. A big old track where you can watch the race. A bunch of old people with nothing to do but drive around all damn day, all damn day. Florida, Florida. Hey guys, if you learned something new or you just like this video, make sure to like it. And if you really like this video, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you get all of our videos about what it's like to live in different places in America. Peace.